welcome back to Good Morning Korea. I'm your newscaster, Chet Jun, alongside my colleague here,
Penelope Kim. Today, we'll be discussing the missile crisis happening right now between Russia, Cuba, and the United States.
Yes, and what we know so far is that it was recently discovered by an American U-2 spy plane that Cuba, which is only approximately 90 miles away from the lowest point in Florida, is harboring dangerous nuclear missiles.
What we have been informed is that the United States President John F. Kennedy does not want Russia or Cuba to know of his knowledge of their secret alliance.
And as of what we know so far, Fidel Castro and Nikita Khrushchev of Russia had a secret meeting in which they most likely discussed for the placement of these nuclear missiles in Cuba.
What we haven't figured out yet is who exactly requested this placement of the nuclear missiles in Cuba.
And now we're going to be heading off to our field officer, Brody Anderson, in hopes of finding more information. He will now be introducing Carlos Alonso Fernandez Pardo Juan de la Carlitos, a government official in Cuba.
Thanks, Chet. I'm down here in Cuba where I'm about to meet with a government official, Carlos. Carlos, thank you so much for having this interview with us.
Of course.
So Carlos, can you tell me a little bit as to how your life has changed ever since the public discovery of these nuclear missiles in Cuba?
Well, obviously, my life has changed significantly. As the government official of Cuba, all the eyes are constantly on us, and one false step and the entire country is in grave danger.
And can you tell me exactly what that one false step is?
Well, there are a number of things that cannot happen in order to keep our country safe. For example, our country just wants to avoid the global spotlight as much as possible, or else that could be very bad for us.
And how do you think this plays into the ongoing war between the Soviet Union, a very powerful nation in the world right now, and the United States, another very powerful nation?
Well, obviously, the two countries, very much tension between the two. They've been at it ever since the beginning, basically. So I don't think this can do anything but add heat towards this relationship.
And Carlos, can you maybe just tell us who requested for the placement of these nuclear missiles in Cuba?
Unfortunately, I just cannot do that.
Back to you, Chet.
Thanks, Brody, for such an up-close and personal interview. So, tell me, what did you think about that interview footage?
Well, I mean, an interesting interview for sure, considering the fact that he didn't even attempt to answer the big question.
Very, very suspicious indeed. But for me personally, I think that Cuba is the one that requested for the placement of these nuclear missiles. Because, well, if I was Fidel Castro, after a failed invasion against us, I would have no choice but to request for external help. And I think personally that Cuba did it in retaliation against the United States to put themselves as a threat to us almost.
Well, Chet, I must disagree with you there, as I do believe that it is none other than our European enemies, Russia. And I say this because they have every reason to. I mean, as most of you know, the United States and Russia are not on the greatest terms, and I mean, they're even facing nuclear war as we know it.
Well, both of us, I think, put out very reasonable theories. But right now, we're going to take a short break and go to commercial. But when we come back, we have a very exclusive program, starting with an interview with the one and only Fidel Castro.
Ugh, I don't want to pick it up.
I don't want to pick it up either.
Ugh, it's so gross.
I know, right?
I'll pick it up, cause I'm Charmin clean. My honey's clean. And you know why? I use Charmin.
very exclusive program indeed, where we will be going down to our field officer in Cuba, Lindsay, where she will be introducing, once again, one of the most infamous men in Cuba's history. Recently, it was discovered by one of our news photographers in Cuba that Fidel Castro was wandering down one of the Cuban alleys at midnight. Very suspicious stuff.
Yes. In this photo, which Chet will be showing us right now, he appears to be very stern and serious, and it makes us wonder, what's on your mind? Anyways, we're hoping that this interview with Lindsay and Fidel provides us a lot more answers regarding this missile crisis, as the last interview with Carlos did not provide us any. So we're hoping that we get a lot of information.
More information indeed. Now to you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Chet. So here we have a very exclusive interview with the one and only Fidel Castro of Cuba. So first of all, I just want to thank you so much for doing this exclusive interview in your government building.
No problem.
So, Fidel, tell me.
No. Please, call me Mr. Castro.
Okay, Mr. Castro, recently it's been discovered that the Cuban government made a secret little arrangement with the Soviet Union. Can you maybe shed a little light on maybe what was discussed in this said arrangement?
No comment.
Okay. As you probably know, the President of America, John F. Kennedy, has decided not to protest about such weaponry being installed in your country. However, he did warn that if the Soviets introduced these weapons, quote, the gravest issues would arise. What is your opinion on his decision not to protest and his reaction to this crisis?
Johnny, do not scare me.
Well, if you aren't afraid, then why did you remove the missiles?
Oh, me? I'm not scared. My people are. I have to protect my country.
According to Dwight Eisenhower's calculations, if this missile crisis leads to either side firing these nuclear weapons, then all people in the Northern Hemisphere would perish. Does this fact change your plans for the future?
Dwight knows nothing. He's a stupid man.
And do you think there's a slight chance that the public could possibly see a truce happening in the future between, America and Soviet Union?
No. See, I'm not the type to back down just because of a little bit of fear.
And could you just give us a little more insight as to why you and Nikita Khrushchev from Russia made this secret arrangement originally?
Let's just say John messed up after Bear Pigs.
And is that all you have to say for yourself regarding this catastrophe?
Yes.
Oh, well, it looks like we have just enough time for one more question.
No. I'm done here.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going back to Chet and Penelope.
Wow. Thank you, Lindsay, for such an exclusive and thrilling interview with one of the most infamous people in Cuba's history.
Without a doubt, and I must say, I do recall him talking about maybe how Cuba was the one who requested the placement of the missiles.
Yes, I do recall that indeed, and for me, it's one of the more pivotal moments of the interview, as it would answer some of our unanswered questions that we had picked up on earlier in the interview.
Well, next week we'll go into further depth regarding the issue, discussing everything in the interview. As for now, thank you so much for watching PLBCCF News. And we'll see you next week.
Audio Jungle.
It would be useful to have that information. Can we reset that one?
Alright. starting.
I don't want to pick it up.
I don't want to pick it up either.
It's so gross.
I know, right?
I'll pick it up.
Unfortunately, I just cannot do that.
Welcome back. The PLCF FR. Kiss me, you fool! I'll pick it up.